Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Tommy Krysan, Ronnie Rance, TK over at Court Street Cafe, getting ready for a great. They're finishing up. They got breakfast over there. They got lunch right on the horizon. I'm jealous. I'm a little hungry over here at Pete Goolsbee Field in the bowels of the stadium. Pete Goolsbee Field, getting ready for Rougarou season, which cranks up tomorrow night. TK over in Port Allen, just probably about 10 minutes from where I'm at to downtown Port Allen. Of course, we're presented by LeBear's Casino, who's our great title sponsor each and every week for Sports Shorts Daily and Radio, and at an undisclosed location. I just told you where it is. Presented by Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, which Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, I mean, it'll be here before you know it. Once we get to this week, opening day with the Rougarou, we turn the page in my life, the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Next week, we get ready for the Hall of Fame induction. Is right around the corner, June 20th through 22nd in Natchitoches. Daniel Cormier, Drew Brees, Simone Augustus, Frank Monica, you name it. Go to lasportshall.com, make your plans to join us. It's going to be an amazing event. It's selling out. I mean, like, tickets are moving quick. TK, in the last not quite 48 hours since we talked on Sports Shorts Daily, the world of college baseball has kind of absorbed the brackets, absorbed what has transpired. The odds are out to win the College World Series. The NBA Finals, one half is set. The Celtics are in, waiting on the Mavericks. The Mavericks were up 3-0. They lost to the Timberwolves. The Mavericks will punch their ticket, and it'll be a Dallas-Boston final. But let's talk college baseball first. Now that it's been 48 hours, anything surprising, anything set in? What are you seeing from the odds, that sort of thing?
Well, a couple of the surprises. Sorry that Lamar got left out. Will Davis made some posts, and College of Charleston was Coach Hornbuck, who used to be at South Carolina, very upset that they got left out, and Mississippi State didn't host. Okay, and East Carolina did. That's kind of the three side stories. But to turn the focus back to the 64 teams, you got 6 teams from Louisiana. That ties a record that's more than 20 years old. So 6 teams from Louisiana will be in regional play. It all starts Friday. You can find the time and the location of your favorite team, but to have 6 teams in there and 11 from the SEC, it's all really good. And we're all both consumed right now with the Rougarou, which play tomorrow night and Friday night at home, 7:00 at Pete Goolsbee Field. But a lot of attention come Friday around the nation on college baseball, and I'm fired up about that.
So LSU, surprisingly, who is not a top 16 national seed. I mean, they are a second seed in the North Carolina Regional. Of course, we know they take on Wofford for the first time in program history. If they win, they go to, they win that regional, they go to Arizona. And on paper, I mean, obviously Arizona has to win their regional, which would be, the NCAA always loves storylines, and they have created one. If LSU gets out of this regional, they'll travel to Tucson. And I think that's something that Jay Johnson probably did not want to see, probably did not like, much like Paul Maneri never enjoyed facing his old teams and stuff like that. That's definitely Jay's, I'm sure, takeaway. It's only just 3 years ago he was over in Tucson. But I would say that the fact that LSU, depending on the odds where you get them, is either the 3rd, 4th, or 5th best chance to win the World Series, even though they're not a top 16 team, that gives you an idea of the brand that LSU has, the types of players that LSU has, and how well they've played over the last 3 weeks.
Well, and you can go to the sportsbook at LeBear's and bet on all of that, okay? The games, the odds to win the World Series, the futures, the whole bit. But, yeah, LSU is right there, 3rd, 4th, or 5th. Tennessee's consensus number 1. They're the favorite. And they're the overall number 1 seed, Ronnie, which, as everybody knows, the overall number 1 seed has not won the College World Series since 1999 when the Miami Hurricanes did it, okay? Hadn't happened since. Now, so that little thing's hanging on Tennessee. But then you got A&M, you got Arkansas, you got LSU, Mississippi State, Georgia, some long shots. But they're in there, and, it's baseball. Anything can happen. It's all about the guy on the mound, and I'm really looking forward to that.
So, LSU, depending on where you shop, you pretty much are going to get I think one of the things you saw was plus 950, right? So you bet $100, LSU wins, you win $950. Right now, the number 1 team is Tennessee. One of the odds had them plus 550. So they're the favorite. You lay $100, Tennessee, you win $550. I'm always looking for, a little bit of those long shots, a little bit of tremendous value. Although last year what I did was I went with some long shots, but then I hedged my bet on LSU. So at the end of the day, I think I either broke even or won like $100, but I bet on some long shots that I thought had a chance to do some things to where if LSU didn't win the World Series and one of them won it, I won some money and I was okay with that. But I hedged myself last year. I'm not as confident with LSU, so I'm not going to hedge myself on LSU. But I definitely, as far as the long shots go, what caught my attention yesterday, and I know some of the odds have changed today as money comes in, but Mississippi State in one of the books that I saw was 40-1. You bet $100, you win $4,000 on Mississippi State if they win the World Series. This is a Mississippi State team that I felt like should have hosted a regional. I felt like they got shafted. You look at Auburn's resume a year ago, 17-13, did the same thing in Hoover, strength of schedule, all that kind of thing. It was pretty much the same resume. And last year, Auburn was, I think, a 13th national seed, 13 or 14 national seed. So same resume a year ago doesn't get Mississippi State in the dance hosting a regional. So I feel like they got shafted. I think it was a silly move by the NCAA. You would think Mississippi State, like LSU, tie goes to the runner with that facility and the crowd and the money and everything it brings. You would think that they would always get the benefit of the doubt. They did not. So I think on one of the books you saw this morning, Mississippi State was 25-1. So somewhere between 25-1 and 40-1 is where you're going to land on Mississippi State. I think that that's a tremendous value for a team that is maybe not as good as LSU was a year ago, but not as bad as Ole Miss was 2 years ago, somewhere in the middle.
I agree. I agree with that. And you know me, I like value. In the horse race, don't bet the 2-1 favorite. Bet that 8-1 or that 10-1 where you're going to get some value. For the old saying is if you bet 8-1s, you're going to win one of them, and then you would be even. You bet 8 2-1s, you got to win one of the two. So why not win one of 8? I mean, anyway, it's managing money, just playing with the numbers. But you're right. Mississippi State, I think that'd be good value. And there's some other teams out there if people want to dive into it. And again, do all of that at the sports book at LeBear's.
What I'm curious about is, and we're not going to know until Friday because Jay Johnson doesn't tip his hand or tell anybody unless he's just forced to, is what will LSU do on Friday? Will they, in fact, go with a jump Holman like they've been doing? Or will they roll the dice and go Ackenhausen, instead? They pulled him early on Sunday, 2 1/3 innings. He clearly is, available on Friday, and he would be full, would rested good enough to get 5 innings or 6 innings. That should be enough to beat Wofford, right? But do you roll the dice, or do you go jump Holman and then go Ackenhausen on Sunday, or if it's a survivor game?
Well, I think you got to go with jump. Okay, Wofford has a great team batting average. They steal a lot of bases. They're among the nation's leaders, if not the nation's leader in stolen bases. So Milazzo is going to be behind the plate so that he can, try to slow up the running game. Plus, if you start jump, you got a left-hander, which left-handed pitchers tend to slow down the running game a little more than right-handed pitchers as well. We all know that. So I think you got to go with jump. Back in the day when there was 6 teams in a regional, Skip always talked about the marble game. That time you had to figure that out. But with 4 teams, I mean, you got to win game 1. You win game 1, your chance of winning that regional goes way up. So I think you go with jump. He's been the guy. Holman didn't allow a hit in 6 innings last week. Then you go with him on Saturday, probably against North Carolina. We don't know for sure, but probably. Then you got one of your studs, Holman, going against the number 4 overall seed, Tar Heels of North Carolina. So I think it's got to be jump Holman. That's my opinion. Jay Johnson's not going to check with me. I get that, but that's my opinion.
It would be very interesting. I agree with you, Tommy. I think I'm on the same page. I would not assume anything. I don't think it's like, LSU's had 3 solid starters and they've done everything, like Ackenhausen's, had his moments where he's done okay and not. And I don't think that I would hang my hat on a third option to beat an adrenalized Wofford team who's on cloud 9 facing you. You could fall behind real quick. You would hate to be in a situation where because if you lose that first one, the only way you can win the tournament is you got to play 5 games. So you lose that first one, then you got to play. You got to win on Saturday, and then you got to win 2 on Sunday, and then you got to win 1 on Monday. I mean, you got to end up playing 5 games. LSU doesn't have 5 starters, so I wouldn't do that. I would let Jump go as long as he can. Let him throw 100, 110 pitches. Hopefully that gets you 7, 8 innings. And then you save the pin, and then you'd go all hands on deck on Holman with Holman behind him to beat North Carolina on Saturday. And then it's survive and advance. You just got to win one of the next two. And you feel like you got enough pitching to do that.
Yeah, I think so, Ronnie. I mean, you got to win that first one. And, here's Wofford, okay? They're excited to be in the tournament. They got a first-year coach, J.J. Edwards. They want – J.J.'s message is, God, we're playing the reigning national champ. We're playing LSU, who's playing the best baseball in the country the last 20 games or so. Nobody thinks we can beat them, guys. Let's go out there and do it. That's basically the speech that their coach will give that team. They got nothing to lose. The pressure is actually on LSU. And, again, I think you got to go Jump. Again, that's my 2 cents worth, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it would be pretty ballsy if Jay Johnson did not go him. I mean, I talked to Coach Skip Burtman yesterday. I'm actually going to watch the first hour and a half or so of the game on Friday with him at his house, and looking forward to that. But I think he still kind of looks at the regional maybe in the old school way of where he remembers. Because remember, other than the last 3 regionals he coached, it was the old format where you had 6 teams in a regional. And so oftentimes you did throw off or do something, your 1 seed versus 6 seed or a 2 versus a 5, LSU taking on a Southern. Wofford's not Southern. They're not Grambling. You don't want to throw off too far down the road because then you can maybe get burned. So we'll see how much confidence Jay Johnson has in Ackenhausen, how much confidence he has in his staff. He'll also have an arm check. We don't know. Is anybody feeling tender, sore, whatever the case may be. You would assume not based off of those guys' performances last week. But it will be a very interesting thing. I don't expect we'll know till a couple hours before game time on Friday. That's been kind of Jay Johnson's MO. But
game time's 11 a.m. We may know late Thursday. They're going to work out in North Carolina on Thursday. And, of course, he's going to get asked. And now the question is, does he give the answer? So we'll see. And look, I tell you, Cokie Riley of the Advocate does a good job of getting that kind of info. But maybe he'll squeeze it out of Jay. I don't know. But Jay's close to the vest, like many, many coaches are. So you may not know till, 9:30, 10 o'clock Friday morning.
Let's talk a little bit about, obviously we mentioned the NBA Finals. We'll talk about that when it's set. Boston taking on potentially Dallas. I mean, Dallas is up 3-1 on the Timberwolves. You never know. But when I think of Boston, Tommy, I think back to Larry Bird days. When I think back to Larry Bird days, one of my favorite teams was the 86 team with Bill Walton was on it. We know he passed away. We had a couple comments on Monday about Bill Walton, but the outpouring of affection and love for this man has been tremendous over the last 48 hours. The stories, the videos, I've enjoyed reading about him. Obviously I knew a lot about him. You know a lot about him, but just it never gets old. The guy lived an unbelievably interesting life. He was a hippie. He was a nomad. He was a Gandhi type figure as well. The basketball player, just a broadcaster. I mean, he did it all, lived it all. Seemed to do it all with a smile on his face, and he died too young at 71 years of age battling cancer. But now that you've had a chance to reflect, what's 1 or 2 more stories that come to mind for you?
Well, a couple of things. One, Ronnie, the definition of a genius is that which cannot be duplicated. A genius cannot be duplicated. Bill Walton was truly a genius. Number one, he was an academic All-American at UCLA. I didn't know that. And he graduated on time at UCLA. Can't say I knew that. A couple other things. Bill Walton always insisted they would list him at 6'11" because when he was in high school and he started growing like crazy, he was told 7-footers were freaks. So he didn't want to be a freak. So he always said he was 6'11". He was really 7'2". Robert Parrish from Louisiana. Robert Parrish played his teammate with the Celtics, who was listed at 7 foot tall and was 7 foot tall. Saw a video. Robert said, Bill was not 6'11". I'm 7 foot, and he was a couple of inches taller than me. So that was something I kind of had known that one, but I didn't know he was the academic All-American. Dan Patrick told a great story about the time he gave Walton a ride in a Volkswagen Jetta, and Walton couldn't even fit in, but they were playing Bob Dylan music, and Walton was expounding on things and singing, blowing in the wind. I mean, it almost put me to tears hearing that story about Dan Patrick about the time he gave Bill Walton a ride from one place to another in a Volkswagen Jetta. But it's been great to see the outpouring. There's a ton of videos on YouTube. They're all like 3, 4, 5 minutes long. I've watched like 20 of them about Walton, talking about John Wooden, talking about life, talking about him. And, he had 37 surgeries. He called them medical procedures, but 37 from his feet to his knees, his spine collapsed like 7 years ago. Spine collapse. He could not get off of the floor for 3 weeks. Literally laid on the floor for 3 weeks. And then somebody got something to help him, and he talked about healthcare professionals. He was a genius. Again, a genius is someone who cannot be duplicated. There'll never be another Bill Walton. And, he was entertaining. He was a smart guy. Again, an academic All-American. And by the way, pretty darn good basketball player as well.
Pretty awesome. Unique individual. You love unique people, and just you felt happier. You felt better for, like I said, the one time I had an experience with him, it was memorable. First one and only time meeting him. Then when you met him one time, you felt like you knew him forever, and that's pretty cool. All right. Well, the Baton Rouge Rougarou opening day tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock Friday. Fireworks Friday during the 7th inning stretch. Tomorrow's going to be opening day. A lot of festivities at the ballpark. Going to be an awesome time. And hey, we got a covered roof. The sun sets in the west. We've got the, where the Rougarou, where the way the sun sets. Trust me, if you walk out of your house at 5, 6 o'clock, head to the ballpark. It's going to be hot. You get to the ballpark, you're in the shade. You're going to have an ice cold beverage. It's going to be a lot of fun. And by the way, the weather's not supposed to be, the high temperature is not supposed to be over 90 the next 2 days. So that's a little bit of a relief there. The highs in the 80s, according to the Weather Channel app. All right, TK, I will see you today at noon over at Lod Cook for our Rougarou press conference and team luncheon. Tell us about Court Street Cafe on the way out.
Yeah, of course, Court Street Cafe here in Port Allen. What a great place for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Saturday night, they got steak night, half-price bottles of wine, filet mignon, ribeye, all the potato, the salad. You get everything on Saturday nights here at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. And then Sunday, their famous brunch, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. With the mimosas, the Bloody Marys, full-service bars. You can see behind me here at Court Street Cafe. You need to check them out. Jason and the staff do a super job here. They take care of you. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. They got it covered. I mean, it's really, really an outstanding place. And it's kind of like I always say, if you haven't been here before, give it a shot. Come get breakfast. Come get lunch. Come get a drink on the way home if you're on this side of the river. It's just a couple of minutes from downtown Baton Rouge. Over the bridge, 2 minutes after you're over the bridge, you're in the parking lot at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. We want you to do that. Hey, look, a lot of comments today. We appreciate all the comments. We ask you to like and share this show, whether you're watching on YouTube, on X, or Facebook. Like and share this show. That helps a lot. We appreciate Stephen Miller and Greg Schilling and Nookie and everybody for making their comments today. That's much appreciated. And don't forget, Baton Rouge Rougarou, brrougarou.com. Get your shirts, your hats, your merchandise, brrougarou.com. You can get season tickets. $100 gets 2 people into all 24 games. That's a deal. That's like $2 a game or so. Home games tomorrow night, Friday night. All Rougarou games, all games start at 7 p.m. Pete Goolsby Field in Baton Rouge. The park's looking great. Like Ronnie said, big covered roof. You got plenty to eat and drink. You got Tremonti's hamburgers and sausage out there for you. brrougarou.com. We want you to check that out as soon as possible. Also, we always talk about Tremonti's, and I'll be out there on Friday for Sports Shorts Daily. But today, Wednesday, and every Wednesday the rest of the summer, $6.99 gets you a great Tremonti's burger and fries. $6.99. Dine in, take it to go, order it, pick it up. Tremonti's $6.99 hamburger and fries special every Wednesday starting today. Of course, we'll remind you about that. Hey, once again, like and share this show. We appreciate that very much. Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. We're always happy to be out here. And our presenting sponsor is LeBear's Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge, where you got the sports book to bet on all the NBA playoffs, NBA finals right around the corner, Major League Baseball, college baseball, the NCAA tournament, and the football futures, okay? And then don't forget the Edge Lounge, back left corner of the casino floor at the LeBear's Casino and Hotel, Baton Rouge. On behalf of Ronnie Rance, I'm Tommy Christ saying, like and share this show. That helps us. Have a great day, everyone.